After 6 months of daily use, the Mini LED versus OLED debate has a clear answer, and it's probably not the one you expected. One of these technologies completely dominates in a dark home theater. The other wins in almost every single other situation you can think of. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one belongs in your living room. Before we get into it, hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments which TV you're using right now and what problems you're facing with it. What these two technologies actually are, let's start simple. Because a lot of confusion around this topic comes from people not understanding what's actually happening inside these screens. This isn't just marketing language thrown around by TV brands. The way these panels are built changes almost everything about how they perform in your home, so it's worth taking a moment to understand the basics before we get into the real-world results. Mini LED is really just a smarter, more advanced version of the LED TVs you've known for years. Instead of a handful of large backlights sitting behind the screen, Mini LED packs in thousands of tiny LEDs, grouped into what are called local dimming zones. Think of it like upgrading from a few big flashlights lighting up a wall to thousands of tiny, precisely controlled spotlights, each one able to brighten or dim on its own. This allows the TV to brighten one part of the screen while keeping another part almost completely dark, which massively improves contrast compared to older LED TVs. It's not perfect, because you're still working with zones rather than individual pixels, but it's a genuine leap forward from the LED TVs most of us grew up watching. OLED works in a completely different way. Instead of using a backlight at all, every single pixel on an OLED screen creates its own light and can switch off entirely, on its own, independent of every other pixel around it. That means true, per pixel control. When a scene calls for a pixel to be black, it simply turns off, producing a black that's as pure as the screen being powered down completely. There are two main flavors of OLED you'll come across today. WOLED is LG's approach, using a white OLED layer combined with color filters to produce the final image. QD OLED is Samsung's approach, using a blue OLED layer combined with quantum dots to produce richer, more saturated color. Both are excellent panels, just with slightly different color personalities, which we'll get into shortly. So right from the start, you can see the fundamental difference between these two technologies. Mini LED is about controlling light coming from behind the screen, in zones. OLED is about each individual pixel making its own light and having total, independent control over it. That single structural difference explains almost everything you're about to hear in this video. From black levels to brightness to how these TVs age over time. A quick look at how we got here, it's worth remembering that neither of these technologies appeared overnight. LCD TVs with basic LED backlighting have been around for well over a decade, and for most of that time, they struggled badly with contrast. Blacks looked more like dark gray, especially in dimly lit rooms, because the backlight simply couldn't be turned off in specific areas. Mini LED was the industry's answer to that problem, taking the same basic backlit approach, but shrinking the LEDs down and multiplying their number, giving manufacturers far more precise control over lighting zones. OLED, meanwhile, took a completely different path. Instead of trying to fix the backlight problem, it eliminated the backlight altogether. Early old TVs were expensive, sometimes fragile, and occasionally suffered from real burn-in issues that gave the technology a slightly nervous reputation among cautious buyers. Over the years, both companies refining OLED and companies refining Mini LED have addressed most of these early weaknesses. That brings us to where we are now in 2026, with both technologies genuinely excellent, but built on fundamentally different philosophies. The battle over black levels and contrast, if there's one area where OLED simply cannot be touched, it's black levels. Because every pixel can turn off completely, a black scene on an OLED screen looks like the TV isn't even on in those spots. There's no light bleeding into dark areas, no glow around bright objects sitting in a dark background. It's clean, precise, and honestly, it's the reason home theater enthusiasts have obsessed over OLED for years. Watching a space movie with a single bright star sitting in an otherwise pitch black sky is where this advantage becomes impossible to ignore. Mini LED has gotten remarkably good in this department, but it hasn't fully closed the gap. Even flagship models like Sony's Bravia 9 still show some blooming. That faint halo or glow you sometimes see around bright objects like subtitles or a bright moon in a dark movie scene. Imagine shining a flashlight at a wall in a dark room. Even if you point it directly at one spot, some light will naturally spill over into the surrounding area. That's essentially what's happening with Mini LED's dimming zones, just on a much smaller and more controlled scale than older LED TVs. It's far less noticeable than it used to be, but if you know what to look for, you'll still spot it occasionally. So after 6 months of use, in a pure test of black levels and contrast, OLED remains the undefeated champion. The brightness battle. Where Mini LED fights back now, here's where the story flips. While OLED wins the darkness game, Mini LED absolutely dominates when it comes to raw brightness. High-end Mini LED TVs can push out anywhere from 3,000 to over 5,000 nits of brightness. And that number matters a lot more than it sounds. In simple terms, brightness is what lets a TV punch through sunlight streaming in through your windows, or make an HDR explosion actually look blinding and intense rather than just brightish. OLED has improved a lot too, with 2026 models peaking somewhere between 1,500 and 4,500 nits. That's genuinely impressive for a self-emissive display, and it's a massive improvement over OLEDs from just a few years ago. But it still can't match what Mini LED backlighting is capable of. Think of it like comparing a strong flashlight to a car's high beam. Both work fine in a dim room, but only one of them can cut through bright daylight without looking weak. That's the real-world difference between these two technologies once brightness becomes the deciding factor. And it's exactly why so many buyers with bright, sunlit living rooms end up happier with a Mini LED set, even if OLED technically has the more perfect underlying technology. Color performance. A closer fight than you'd think when it comes to color, QD OLED currently leads the pack. The quantum dot layer produces an incredibly wide color gamut with purer, more accurate primary colors, giving movies and shows a vibrant, true-to-life look that's genuinely stunning on a good source. However, high-end Mini LED TVs, especially ones that also use quantum dot layers of their own, have closed this gap significantly and now come extremely close in day-to-day viewing. WOLED panels, LG's version of OLED, sit slightly behind in raw saturation, but the difference is subtle enough that most viewers wouldn't notice it without a side-by-side comparison running the exact same scene on both screens at once. So while OLED technically wins on paper here, in real-world binge-watching, sitting on your couch after a long day, the color gap has basically become a non-issue for the vast majority of buyers. This is one of those categories where the spec sheet tells a more dramatic story than your actual eyes will. Viewing angles, no real contest if you've got a wide living room with seating spread out to the sides. This next point matters a lot more than people expect. OLED maintains its color accuracy and contrast even when you're sitting far off to the side, almost at the edge of the room. Mini LED has improved compared to older LED TVs, but it still loses some picture quality and washes out slightly the further off center you sit, with colors looking a bit paler and blacks looking a bit grayer. If your household regularly has people watching from awkward angles, like from the kitchen counter, a side couch, or a dining table pushed against the wall, OLED remains the clear winner here. This is a category that often gets overlooked in spec sheets, but it makes a real difference for larger families or shared living spaces where not everyone gets the prime seat directly in front of the screen. Motion and response time. Built for speed, here's another category where OLED simply outperforms, because each pixel switches instantly. Without waiting on a backlight or liquid crystal to physically shift, motion on OLED looks incredibly sharp and smooth, especially during fast action scenes, sports, and competitive gaming. Mini LED has gotten better here too, but it's still noticeably slower during quick transitions, particularly in darker scenes where you might catch subtle motion blur trailing behind fast-moving objects. If your household watches a lot of fast-paced sports, action movies, or plays competitive shooters where split-second reactions matter, This is a real, tangible advantage for OLED that goes beyond just marketing numbers. It's one of the few areas where the difference is genuinely noticeable even to casual viewers, not just enthusiasts staring at test patterns. Real-world testing. What actually happens in your living room now? Let's move past the lab numbers and talk about how these TVs perform in a real home. Because this is where the truth after 6 months really comes into focus. Specs on a page are one thing, but living with a TV every single day, through different times of day, different weather, and different family activities, tells a very different story. In bright rooms, with sunlight pouring through windows or open-plan living spaces with lots of ambient light, Mini LED clearly wins. Its superior brightness cuts straight through glare and washout, keeping the picture punchy and clear even during the middle of a sunny afternoon. OLED still performs well here, and modern models are much better in bright rooms than older OLEDs used to be, but side by side, it can look slightly dimmer and less vivid when the room is flooded with natural light. Flip that scenario into a dark home theater-style room with the lights off and curtains closed, and OLED becomes unbeatable. The black uniformity and contrast create a genuinely cinematic experience that Mini LED, even with excellent local dimming, can't fully replicate. Watching a moody thriller or a slow burn drama at night, OLED simply pulls you into the scene in a way that's hard to describe until you've actually seen it yourself. And then there's the most common scenario of all, which is a household with mixed content throughout the day. Sports in the morning, news in the afternoon, movies at night, kids watching cartoons on a Saturday, someone gaming after dinner. In this kind of varied, everyday use, Mini LED tends to be the more versatile option, handling bright and dim conditions with fewer compromises across the board. OLED remains the better choice specifically for cinephiles and dedicated darkroom viewers who prioritize movie-quality picture above everything else, even if it means giving up a bit of daytime punch. Long-term durability. The burn in question, this is the part a lot of buyers worry about, so let's clear it up properly. Because there's a lot of outdated fear floating around online based on OLEDs from many years ago. OLED panels do carry a small, ongoing risk of burn-in, where static images like news tickers, channel logos, or a permanently docked computer taskbar can leave a faint, permanent mark on the screen over time. Modern OLEDs have drastically reduced this risk through things like automatic pixel shifting, logo dimming, and periodic screen refresh cycles that run in the background. After 6 months of mixed household use, including regular news watching and some gaming, testers reported no visible burn-in at all. Still, if you plan on using your TV as a permanent PC monitor with a static desktop icon layout, or you leave the same news channel on for hours every single day with a fixed ticker at the bottom, the risk isn't zero. It's simply much lower than it used to be, and manageable with a bit of common sense, like varying your content and giving the screen occasional breaks. Mini LED has no burn-in risk whatsoever since there are no organic pixels that can wear out from displaying static images. The backlight LEDs can dim very slightly over many years of heavy use, but uniformity issues are rare in typical home use. And after 6 months, there was no measurable degradation in brightness at all. So for anyone who wants complete peace of mind around long-term static content, whether that's for work, gaming, or just heavy daily use, Mini LED is the safer long-term bet without needing to think about it. Gaming. Which one should gamers actually buy for competitive gaming? OLED remains the gold standard, and most serious gamers already know this. Instant pixel response, extremely low input lag, and full support for variable refresh rate make fast-paced titles feel incredibly sharp and responsive, especially in games where every fraction of a second matters. Mini LED is good here too, and most casual gamers won't notice a real difference during normal play, but in fast. Dark scenes, you might catch a slightly slower transition compared to OLED's near-instant response, particularly noticeable to players who are already used to OLED's feel. However, if you're someone who games for hours with a static heads-up display sitting in the corner of the screen, or you use your TV as a permanent PC monitor for work and gaming combined, Mini LED removes any anxiety around burn-in completely. And its higher brightness makes HDR gaming look fantastic in a well-lit room during the day, which is a genuine advantage for anyone gaming in a bright space rather than a dedicated dark gaming room. Price and value in the 2026 market here's where practical buying decisions come into play, because picture quality is only half the story. Mid-range OLED TVs currently start around $1,400 for a 65-inch model, making OLED considerably more affordable than most people assume it to be. QD OLED flagships cost more than that, but they're still generally cheaper than the newest RGB Mini LED sets hitting the market. High-end Mini LED TVs, like Sony's Bravia 9 or Hisense's U8QG, are now priced competitively with OLED, often offering larger screen sizes for similar money, which matters a lot if you're trying to fill a big wall with a big screen on a fixed budget. The newest RGB Mini LED technology from 2026, which claims brightness levels as high as 10,000 nits, is currently a premium, niche category, with flagship models starting around $4,000. It's genuinely impressive technology, but it's not yet a mainstream option for most buyers, and honestly, most households won't notice a practical difference between that and a well-reviewed high-end Mini LED from a year or two earlier. So, which one should you actually buy if you mostly watch TV in a dark or light-controlled room, care deeply about perfect blacks and contrast, sit off to the side of the room fairly often, or you're a competitive gamer and movie lover who wants proven, refined technology? OLED remains an excellent choice, especially now that prices have become far more reasonable than they were even a couple of years ago. If your living room gets a lot of natural light throughout the day, your household watches a mix of sports, news, and everyday content, or you use your TV as a computer monitor for long stretches without wanting to worry about burn-in, Mini LED is the smarter, safer, and often more affordable option for maximum brightness and long-term peace of mind. The truth after 6 months after putting both technologies through real, everyday use across bright afternoons, dark movie nights, marathon gaming sessions, and everything in between, the answer isn't that one technology has completely replaced the other. OLED still rules supreme in the dark room, delivering a cinematic experience that nothing else on the market can fully match. But for the vast majority of homes, ones with sunlight, kids, sports, and constantly changing content throughout the day, Mini LED has become the smarter, more practical buy. OLED remains the undisputed king of cinema, but it's no longer the automatic default choice it once was for every single buyer walking into an electronics store. At the end of the day, the best TV isn't the one with the most impressive spec sheet or the longest list of buzzwords in the store display. It's the one that actually fits how you live, watch, and use your screen every single day. In your specific room, with your specific habits. If this video helped you figure out which technology fits your home, smash that like button, subscribe for more honest tech breakdowns, and let me know in the comments which team you're on, Mini LED or OLED, and what's actually been your biggest frustration with your current TV.